lot of people, thousands are waiting for the, hoping for the positive result of ivermectin. Now, I would like to know if, do you know of an iota of success up to now sa ivermectin?
Well, yun po kasi mga studies, some would show benefit and some would not. No? Kaya po talagang hindi pa tayo sigurado. Or kung may benefit man po, medyo maliit lang po yung benefit niya. It's not the miracle drug. There's a possibility po that it is useful, but there's always that possibility po that it's the same as not taking it. No? Kaya po talagang kailangan lang pong hintayin lang natin yung clearer evidence on the effect po talaga ng ivermectin sa COVID-19.
I'm praying that ivermectin could be of use to baski ano na lang, palliative na hindi ka mahawa kaagad. I'm hoping that it will turn out that way, that we can use it so that ako ang mauna ano because inumin mo para ano ka yung at least preventive.
The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Health experts remind the public that following minimum health standards is still effective against COVID-19 and its variants. This as more people are concerned about the efficacy of vaccines to fight the new variants of the coronavirus. To tell us more about this, we have Greg Gregorio again joining us live from Mandaluyong. Greg, are the vaccines available in the country still effective against the COVID-19 variants that we have here?
Charles, if you're talking about the biggest chunk of COVID-19 vaccine supply that we have in our country, which is Sinovac, according to Dr. Ronjin Solante, member of our DOST Vaccine Expert Panel, Sinovac has no published data yet as to their vaccine efficacy against the variants. But based on their press releases, including a study conducted in Butantan Laboratory in Brazil, they say that their COVID-19 vaccine is still effective against all the variants of the SARS-CoV-2. And if we are talking about the Sputnik V of Gamaleya Institute of Russia, it has a decreased vaccine efficacy when it comes to the impact of the South African variant or the B1.351. And as for AstraZeneca, there are no published data yet as to their efficacy against any of the variants of the SARS-CoV-2 based on the presentation of Dr. Ronjin Solante earlier this morning. However, Dr. Solante highlighted that even with this decreased vaccine efficacy because of the variant, vaccines are still important and are still stable against the variant of SARS-CoV-2. Charles?
Greg, talking about these variants, how bad is it really as regards these variants of concern in the Philippines, and are there actually more Filipinos getting infected with these variants?
Charles, based on the latest biosurveillance report issued by the Department of Health, we have already sequenced 7,000 positive samples of COVID-19 positive individuals in the country. And out of these samples, 948 were positive with the B117 or the variant first detected in the United Kingdom. And the most common is the B1351, where 1,075 individuals are positive with this variant, and 2 individuals were positive with the P.1 variant or the variant first detected in Brazil. There are also 157 individuals positive with the P.3 variant or the variant first detected here in the Philippines. However, among these 4 variants mentioned, only the variant first detected in the Philippines, which is the P.3, is not declared as variant of concern. Charles?
All right, Greg, let me get this straight. What is the dominant COVID variant that we have in the Philippines, and how does that relate to the readily available vaccines right now, Sinovac rather?
Charles, according to Dr. Ronjin Solante, because of the small number of gene sequence positive samples in the Philippines, we cannot determine yet what is the dominant variant of SARS-CoV-2 that is present in the Philippines. However, as the biosurveillance report suggests, the most common SARS-CoV-2 variant detected here in the Philippines is the B.1.351, or the variant first detected in South Africa. This variant is the variant of the SARS-CoV-2 which has the most impact against the vaccines, because according to Dr. Ronjin Solante, it has an immune escape that affects the availability of an individual to generate antibodies. And if based on this statement, it can affect all vaccines, including the Sinovac that we are using here in the country. Charles?
Right, Greg. On the one hand, we were talking about the possibility of mixing different vaccine brands. I think a few days ago, that was the issue. But then now the president has ordered the return of the donated Sinopharm doses. So how does that, what happens now to the plan as regards mixing vaccine brands?
According to Dr. Ronjin Solante, if the president will not be given a vaccine from Sinopharm for his second dose, he may be given a vaccine from Sinovac, as both of these vaccines have the same vaccine platform, which is an inactivated virus. According to Dr. Ronjin Solante, mixing of brands of vaccine is already being studied by our vaccine experts panel and also by other experts in other countries. But according to Dr. Solante, it is still an initial study yet, because as of now, what we don't know if we can mix vaccines with varying platforms, or we can only mix those vaccines with same vaccine platforms like the Sinovac and Sinopharm, which have an inactivated virus platform. Charles?
Right, Greg. Following the inoculation of the president and then the apology that followed, how does the government now plan to convince people to get vaccinated, keeping in mind that some vaccine brands have low efficacy rates against certain variants?
Yes, Charles, according to Dr. Ronjin Solante, even though the vaccine efficacy of various brands of COVID-19 vaccines that we have right now is decreased by the variants, it is still not zero, meaning we still have we can still have protection against the virus. And as soon as an individual completes its 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, our body will have other pathways for us to develop an antibody against the SARS-CoV-2, regardless of what variant it is. Charles?
Right, Greg, one last question before I let you go. Generally, we expect 2 doses for certain vaccine brands, but then there's also talk about the need for a 3rd dose of a vaccine to get full protection against the coronavirus. Could you tell us more about this?
Charles, according to Dr. Ronjin Solante, there are ongoing studies abroad, specifically in the United States, where they are developing or studying the possibility of a 3rd dose for their vaccine, so that it could include the protection against a boosted protection against the variant of the SARS-CoV-2. But as of this moment, there are no final information about this yet. Charles?
Thanks for those updates, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. 20,000 capsules of smuggled ivermectin were intercepted by the Customs Bureau at the NAIA. The anti-parasitic drug and other unregulated drugs were all declared as food supplements, multivitamins, and multi-mineral capsules by Finstad Incorporated from India. The smuggled drugs were reportedly concealed in the inner portion of the shipment and covered by other declared regulated items. Former Health Secretary Esperanza Cabral is calling on cabinet members and other government officials to support FDA Director General Eric Domingo on the issue of ivermectin distribution. Cabral said Domingo is in a bad position, as he's currently under a lot of pressure from lawmakers who are keen on distributing ivermectin even without the agency's approval. Cabral says she understands that Domingo is at the mercy of lawmakers who are tasked with approving the budget of agencies, including the FDA. But the former health chief said the director can't just stand and watch well, the mandate of his department is being disregarded blatantly. Cabral also said if Domingo doesn't get enough backing from his peers in government, then there are just two possible courses of action for him.
Either mag-resign siya sa trabaho niya or he stays there and hopes that he can mitigate kung ano man yung mga nangyayaring masama sa Food and Drug Administration. There may come a time when he will have to cross that line kasi hindi talaga pwede to keep going like this na binabastos yung ahensya mo at ikaw ay walang magawa tungkol doon.
Miss Universe Cameroon, Angelique Osinda, praised the Filipino fashion student who designed her national costume. On Instagram, Cosinda revealed that a 20-year-old Filipino Kennedy John Gasper designed her national costume. Kennedy is a student at the Central Luzon State University in Isabela, taking up fashion and textile technology. The Cameroonian beauty said the nationality of the designer doesn't matter, as long as the outfit or costume could best represent her country's legacy and culture. She also revealed that all her gowns for the pageant are Filipino-made and that she herself was trained by a Filipino. Cosinda is the first ever Miss Cameroon, as the country is making its debut in Miss Universe this year. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.